I've been ready.
You done been ready?
I've been ready.
All right, let's do this. Well,
All right.
welcome to All Soccer All Day. This is Stevie Mack out in Chicago. I'm here with my boy Eric D out in LA. What's up, man?
What is up? What's going on?
What's going on is we're gonna do this right now. We're just gonna say thank you to all of our listeners. You guys are awesome from around the world. Spread the love, tell your friends about it, give us those 5-star reviews anywhere you're listening to this. It really helps us out. Patreon supporters, you guys make this possible. We really, really appreciate you guys, and if you can help us out that way, you can go to patreon.com/allsoccerallday, and $1 a month is cool. It's only $12 a year, hooks us up. Thank you. Also, we want to give a shout out to Vaporgate, our sponsor. Vaporgate is out in Colorado, and a shout out to our boy Yosh, who owns Vaporgate. And Vaporgate is vapordate.com. You can check that out. It's all your vaping needs, so vape juice and anything you might need other than that. So good stuff. Other than that, Eric D, what you got going on right now? What you got?
Well, what do I have? As we're going to start the show here, we're going to do a little thing we call news and notes, guys. And I mean, at the top of the list, we have to talk about it. We're going to get into it because it's probably the number one thing, besides the MLS Cup, that's being talked about, at least over here in America, would be the hiring of Gregg Burkhalter to be the U.S. national team coach for the men.
Correct.
What are your initial thoughts, my man?
Well, I mean, it's been 13 months.
Mm-hmm.
We come up with Gregg Burkhalter. Here's the thing, and I was telling you this the other day. There's a lot of shade and a lot of hate out there right now. Like instant hate. Just Twitter's blowing up about how everyone's just basically shit talking this dude right off the bat without giving him any chance when it comes to the national team. So right away, I'm just kind of honestly I'm not very happy with the way that U.S. men's national team fans are acting, just like in general. Shade and hate is not going to help the team get any better. What they need is support. They need people going out and rooting for them, not talking shit about their head coach. I mean, how does that help,
No, it doesn't help. I have told you this before. When you watch a U.S. national team match, at least with the men, I don't know how it is with the women, my apologies, but when the men are playing, Twitter can be an interesting place to be because we love to hate when it comes to our national team, for sure. I mean, obviously we all it's something we can rally around. It's our national team. I mean, we all have our own soccer that we like, our clubs, whether they be domestic or foreign. But when it comes to international soccer, I mean, if you live here in this country, for the most part, you're rooting for the U.S., even if you do root for another country. But the problem is that this guy doesn't have the resume, the CV, as they would say, that people are looking for. I think what I gather is that people are looking for an international name, someone in the soccer community that's well-renowned and comes with some kind of gravitas or stature. And this is more like the status quo, or maybe even going backwards, or it smacks a little bit of like a good old boys club in the sense of his brother is working for the U.S. Soccer Federation, so there's the whole shout of nepotism.
Right.
And Gregg Burkhalter is a former U.S. national team player.
Mm-hmm.
Program. He was with the Columbus Crew just recently, so he knows MLS. He's within MLS circles and knows all that in the American game. And Ernie Stewart is the president, or I should say the GM, general manager of the Federation now, and he hired Gregg Burkhalter. And so it kind of just seems like, buddies doing buddies favors, and I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, some people look at it as, like it said, like, what does this do to push the program forward? I'm not of your level of optimism, but I'm definitely not in the hate camp. I'm more of like, let's wait and see. But I do have my, concerns or.
Yeah, well, okay, so let me say this. Number one, I'm not necessarily like super optimistic like everything's going to work out. I'm actually more like you, where I'm just kind of like, at least let's wait and see. Like, there's no reason to just like destroy this dude before he even gets a chance to take the pitch once. Like, come on, like, give the dude a shot at least, because truthfully, no one's going to change it just by bitching about it, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess, part of it is that we waited so long for a coaching hire
Right.
to take place, and for it to be Gregg Burkhalter is a little underwhelming, to say the least. And with the whole signing, possibly of Tata Martino going to the Mexican national team, it's like jokes are already being put out there, like, oh, I can't wait till Tata Martino's Mexico beats Gregg Burkhalter's U.S. side 3-0, and they're referencing, obviously Atlanta beating Columbus in the MLS playoffs. I'm sorry, I shouldn't. I apologize. I misspoke. The Red Bulls knocked out Columbus, but they're just talking about Atlanta obviously beating Columbus is basically what they're saying. And I don't know, Gregg Burkhalter, he seems to be a coach that is respected.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any bad words anybody is really saying about him. I just think they think on the national team stage he's just not qualified. Because the problem is he hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this guy hasn't even gotten his team to an MLS Cup. Well, actually, he did get to MLS Cup. Once again, I misspoke. I think he took Columbus to MLS Cup against Portland. So there was that. But he obviously didn't win an MLS Cup. And other than that, he hasn't coached that much. So for him to actually be the man for the U.S. national team, I don't know. There's just a lot of
unanswered questions, pretty much, really. But but here's another thing though, and this is another perspective, and this is just like kind of surface level observation, is simply that with the way that the U.S. men's national team is looking to rebuild, with all the youth that's been put out there over the course of the last 6 months or so, as they're really just kind of getting to know what the future is, it's almost kind of like it's like pressing the reset button on almost like everything. It's like the young players that are coming in, they're giving them lots of time right now, at least. And we don't know how the changing of the guard's going to go. We don't know what players from before are going to end up being filtered out, because Gregg Burkhalter is a new coach and he's going to have his own preferences on players that he wants to bring in and people he thinks is going to be able to carry the U.S. men's national team into the future, right? So, I mean, there's going to be a lot said almost right away, seeing whether or not this is like a true, almost like reset, starting over, like going all the way down to the coach, basically. And who knows, I don't know. I guess I'm just like you. I'm waiting to see, at least. And, the truth is that, our next big competition that's coming up, obviously we're going to have to go out there and at least do some damage, like at least do something to show up and make ourselves relevant. But I'm like, who knows what the starting lineup's going to be? Who knows what the squad's going to be by that time? I mean, do you have any ideas as far as what are your thoughts as far as is he going to come in? Do you think he's going to cycle a lot of people out and bring new people in? Or do you think he's going to stick with the same thing for a little while?
Well, I mean, he definitely, maybe to the chagrin of some people, supporters, I mean, he's going to know the MLS domestic players. I mean, a lot of people were saying, oh, well, I guess Jazzy Zardes is going to be back in the mix, and we're definitely going to see him, and he's going to set up a system that's going to benefit people like Jesse Zardes. Yeah, I expect to see a lot of MLS players. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of young guys. I don't actually think a lot's going to change in some ways. I mean, maybe that's why they went with this hire, because maybe Gregg Burkhalter is going to kind of carry on maybe like Dave Sarakin in some ways and just keep playing the kids. Like, yeah, maybe some older MLS players might be coming in, or some vets. What it means for the foreign players, I don't know. But yeah, it's, he's got the January camp coming up. I'm sure he's going to bring in a lot of MLS players, because they'll be in the off season, where the guys in Europe are obviously, well, they might be on break, but some of them are playing. And in February, he has the game against Costa Rica. And then, later next year, you have the Gold Cup.
Yep.
So, yes, there's some big tests coming up.
Well, and that's why I was saying, at least as far as the Gold Cup, like, hopefully we make ourselves at least a little relevant in it. I don't expect to win the Gold Cup this upcoming year, honestly. But at least, hopefully, if we have some kids in there, we can show some talent. We can have some exciting games and so forth. But again, like, it's kind of just like rebuilding, man. Like, it's clear that's what's going on.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, but the expectations for us as a soccer nation in this region is at least the final or bust. Like,
well, you would, yeah.
I mean, it is about winning it.
Of course.
Like, getting to the final and losing to, like, say, Mexico or Costa Rica is probably the bare minimum. But, I mean, no one's going to want to lose to them. Everybody wants to win. But, yeah, if they don't make the final of the Gold Cup, it's going to be looked. I mean, look what happened to Klinsmann.
Yeah.
They lost to Jamaica in the semifinals, and everyone losing their mind. So, yeah, I mean, they've got to get to the final, preferably, obviously, win the thing. A lot's riding on this with this hire, and, some people think time has already been lost, and it will just be that much more time lost if this doesn't work out. And, it might work out here in the foreseeable future with CONCACAF competition, but it's going to be really like, can we do something on the world stage? Everybody's obviously looking to the next World Cup, and we obviously have to qualify, since we didn't qualify for this last one. So there's a lot of pressure, and I don't know. Maybe in some ways, maybe Gregg Burkhalter is somewhat of like a stopgap. Maybe he's been put in place to just hold serve until something better comes along. I mean, they're obviously probably not telling him that, but maybe he's just going to be there, and whenever they need to jettison him to bring in a bigger name, maybe that might happen.
Yeah, but then at the same time, it's like, then why not just bring in the bigger name now?
Well, maybe I
guess they're not available, but
I don't know. That's the thing. Nobody really knows who they interviewed, if they interviewed anybody, if it, the whole thing is very secretive, and
So, one thing about this, though, I have to say, as far as being a domestic soccer fan, MLS and men's national team, I have to say that, honestly, I'm kind of excited to see some MLS players hopefully developing into the men's national team a little bit more than before. I mean, look, we have obviously some great players that are playing internationally for different clubs around the world. And no doubt, like, if they make the cut, obviously, they should be in there. But I do actually really like the fact that if all is said, kind of like, if all goes down the way you said, if he's bringing in a bunch of MLS players to give it a shot, I think that's a good thing for our country. I mean, I think it's good for the MLS, and it's going to kind of inspire, hopefully, players in the MLS to up their game, because they'll know they possibly have a shot at least getting onto the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the concerns that people have, is the whole connection between MLS and the U.S. Soccer Federation. Like, there's some kind of forced marriage there.
Yeah.
That there's shared benefit from the two of them succeeding, which I understand to a certain degree. I get it. It is a business, and it's like, hey, if U.S. soccer is doing well, MLS wants to do well, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I think the concern for people is that MLS quality players are just not
Right.
going to compete with the higher international quality players. And that's why everyone's like, oh, our kids, everybody's got to go to Europe. Like, go to Europe, go to Europe. Don't stay in MLS. Don't be in MLS, And obviously it was, as the years have gone on, MLS has gotten better. So it's, staying in MLS is not always a bad thing. But, like, look at Tyler Adams.
Sure.
He's leaving New York Red Bulls, and now he's going to go to
Leipzig
in Germany.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the Bundesliga. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big step up. Let's not forget Davies going. He's not a U.S. men's national team, but he's an MLS player. So yeah. I'm not saying. Yeah, I guess my point is that these young players from the MLS, whether or not Canadian or whatever it is, they're developing and they're going to to European teams, big club names too.
I'll put it this way: MLS, it is definitely developing players to help other countries that are underdeveloped. That they honestly, their national teams or their club teams in their country are just not of the level of MLS. So it definitely helps them. It's just, does it help U.S. as a whole on the national side of things and the international stage? Who knows? I mean, some transcend that. I mean, Landon Donovan played most of his career in the MLS, and Landon Donovan's one of the best U.S. national team players we've ever had. So,
yep, very true. Well, I do want to just say this. As far as, saying that I think it's pretty cool that these MLS players are getting a shot, I do have to say I'm kind of a homer in that regard. Like, to me, in my head, I'm like, man, it would be awesome to see U.S. players raised in the U.S., playing for the U.S. national team and competing, Yeah. But hey, of course, you go to Germany, you play in the Bundesliga. If you're good enough, hey, look, we talked about this last week. Zach Steffen is, last I saw, they're still in some talks with City and stuff like that. And just being able to be in that realm is showing that clearly there's quality development in the United States that's happening. It's not rampant. It's not all over the place. These big European clubs are not all over every team trying to pick people apart. But hey, man, the more Tyler Adams, the more Zach Steffens come through. There's a lot. Josh Sargent, over in Germany as well. A lot of these young kids that are being picked up from the MLS. That's exciting, man. It just shows progression as far as I think in the academies and kids coming up, at least.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's something you want to see. I mean, there's definitely a place for MLS in the development of players in more particular U.S. national team players in general. It's needed because not every U.S. national team player is going to be playing in Europe. At least that is not the case right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, when it all comes down to it again, to kind of wrap this topic up at least, I think and I say that let's at least give the dude a shot. Let's not just completely tear everything down. It's not going to change anything. Let's watch and let's see what happens. Let's try to do our best to support it. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, you can call a spade a spade. But, it shouldn't be guilty until proven innocent in a lot of ways. I at least think you got to give the guy a shot. Yeah,
no, and I agree with you. I'm trying to voice what I think what people are saying is just, in general, it's just like,
yeah. Well, it might turn out like that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it won't. It very well, that could be what happens.
If it's been announced and it was like Zinedine Zidane or something, like we were joking, you say, like, people would have been like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, totally, like, blew everybody's mind. But since it was Gregg Burkhalter, it was like, yay, it's Gregg Burkhalter.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man.
Because there's been this growing disinterest with U.S. soccer since ever since we didn't qualify, basically, for the World Cup. I mean, obviously, a lot of people like to see the young kids and everything, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, development, yeah, young kids. People want to see the stars. They want to see, the show. It's like, oh, we don't want to see how it's made. I just want the food in front of me, and I
Yeah.
want to eat it right now.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And look, that's the truth when it comes to the casual fan, and for a lot of more hardcore fans. Of course, you want to see your team do well. So, look, we'll see. That's all anyone can really do. So, all right, let's move forward. What else we got as far as news and notes go?
In no particular order. I guess since we're still talking about U.S. and MLS, Oscar Pereja has left FC Dallas. He has now gone on to be the coach of Tijuana, AMX. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with FC Dallas here. Oscar Pereja was with them for quite a while since he came over from Colorado. I had a lot of ties down there, had to do a lot with their development and everything that was going on there. It's unfortunate FC Dallas hasn't been able to put it together to win an MLS Cup. Like, there's just, I don't know what it is. It's so weird. They're one of those teams that just like, they should have more success, should have more to show for it, but they don't. And now they need a new head coach. And so we're going to see what happens there. Hopefully,
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting void.
Hopefully they actually put a season together and not nosedive.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see, definitely. Go ahead.
Also, happening today, the winner of the Ballon d'Or was announced. And for the first time in I don't know how many years, it was not one Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. It was everyone's favorite Croatian, Luka Modric.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just got done watching that video that they had put out with some of the highlights and everything. And the dude's just a playmaker, man. He's super baller, man.
I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's well deserved, and yeah, man. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice to see the monopoly broken up. Just the Messi Ronaldo award.
Yeah,
basically. So props there. I mean, he was beasting. I mean, you saw him in the World Cup. I mean, that midfield for Croatia.
Took him, dude. Yeah, complete engine, man. Beast mode for sure. So very good stuff. Go ahead.
The Ballon d'Or winner for a female. I forgot her name. She's a Norwegian girl. I'll have to look her up here real quick. But yeah, maybe not. We won't touch on it too much here. Not to get too deep into it. But unfortunately, at the ceremony, it was in French, and the French DJ, I guess I was hosting it or whatever, he asked her if she knew how to twerk, and as you can expect, Twitter blew up about that.
Yeah, it's poor taste, looks bad.
And Hegenberg, I am probably butchering her name, but she plays for Lyon in obviously the female league there in Ligue 1, probably. I don't even know if it's called Ligue 1, what it's called. Apologies, not up on my female leagues around the world, but yeah, first female Ballon d'Or, and it's it's disappointing that the news of what is supposed to be a big monumental thing for her, it's all about what this guy asked her.
Yeah, it's just a cloud over it. That sucks.
So there's that. I'm trying to think. Do you have any other news and notes?
Yeah. River Plate and Boca.
Yes. So it looks like, as of now, the River Plate Boca Juniors second leg of the final for the Copa Libertadores is going to be played this weekend in Madrid at the Estadio Bernabéu, where Real Madrid plays.
Pretty crazy story, just overall.
Obviously, with the postponement of the game down there, yeah, I guess they were just like, well, we can't hold it here in Argentina. Kind of sucks. Well, in one way, it sucks for River Plate because they won't be able to have that home field advantage
Yep.
for the leg. They're playing it at a neutral site now. Um, River is protesting this match that they won't play it. You and I are both of agreement that when it comes down to it, River will show up because they obviously don't want to forfeit the game.
Yeah, well, we were talking earlier about how if they do that, if they forfeit a game like that against their greatest rival, it's just like it'll just be a black mark on their club for the rest of eternity. I mean, how do you forfeit to your greatest rival for, the final of one of the bigger cups in South America? Like, you just can't do that, no matter what. Like, no matter how, if you perceive it unfair and all that kind of stuff, like, hey, man, the choice has been made, the game's going to get played, the things are going to count. So if you don't show up, then you deserve to lose, man.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to win here,
Exactly.
Get the Club World Cup. Right now, it looks like the game is slated for Sunday at 11:30 a.m. local time. That's, here Pacific time in Los Angeles. So that would be 1:30 for you, my man.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see what it's, what's playing on as far as TV and all that goes. So I have to look that up.
A lot of interesting things out there. Obviously, like I said, River Plate is refusing to play, but I think when push comes to shove, they're going to show up and do it because obviously, like you said, they're not going to be. You can't let this be more of a disgrace, more of a fiasco by not showing up. Because
well, it's kind of funny because like if they don't show up and they lose, it's not like they can change that. Like FIFA's not just going to all of a sudden turn around and be like, oh, you know what? Actually, like it's not going to happen,
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, hey, maybe in the future you need to take some. I mean, River's saying that what happened with the bus was out of their control. It's not in the perimeter of the stadium, I guess, when the bus was attacked. So, they're basically saying that the Argentinian government is at fault and that they need to protect players better, protect the envoy, however they do that, to get the players to the stadium, even though they're rivals.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. This is just like
it's drama.
Yeah, it's drama, and it's like this is stuff that we probably would never hear about here, but this is kind of commonplace in other places of the world, and yeah. So hopefully we're this game to happen because I still want to see it. I mean, some people might not be interested, but I think they're lying, and people are going to tune in because, yeah. I mean, but what I will say is even though this game's going to happen and I want to see it, there is going to be an essence of it lost because you're not going to have River Plate playing in their home stadium with the home fans like it would be if it was there. Like it's going to take some of the soul of it.
You're absolutely right, but hey, it is what it is. So I'm definitely gonna do my best to tune in, but we got to make sure that we find out what that's playing. But okay, so let's go ahead and let's move forward. Let's get into the English Premier League.
Speaking of English League, before I forget, because this has been on the docket and we forget to bring it up. In the English Premier League is going to implement VAR for next season.
Yes, video assistant review will finally be going to the English Premier League. And surprise, surprise, it's so funny that like all year this year, almost every week, someone's like, so where's that review so we can get these calls right? Like every week something happens.
Yeah, because we have it in MLS and we had it obviously in the FIFA World Cup. So everyone thinks like, well, I mean, it was at the World Cup. It's got to be everywhere, right? Wrong.
Nope. So, well, here we go. So, VAR is going to be introduced next season. And look, it's going to be for the benefit of the game. they're going to get calls correct. There's not going to be all kinds of crazy weird stuff where the next season you're like, hey, we would have won this game if so and so and so. It's just like,
I think the problem is with the English, and I mean, we've talked about this before, is, they're the what is it? The
purists.
The purists, they are they hold the game, the elements. It's like we invented this game, and the fact that VAR is going to come in there, I think they're worried about how it's going to affect the game flow and all that. Because I mean, you see it sometimes in MLS with the reviews and everything. It's kind of like it does disrupt the flow of what you. Now, for us as Americans, we're used to
reviews
on instant replays, whether it be the NBA or the NFL or college football, whatever it may be. We're used to it now. And so MLS fans are probably like, even though they really like soccer, it's like, most people are like, okay, they're going to do this instant replay. They're going to go to the replay. They're going to check it out. Okay. But in Europe, there's no such thing. So it's like how it's really going to affect the way they see the game and how they feel about it is going to be interesting to see. There's obviously it's not going to be without its controversy.
Yeah, of course. But here's the thing. I mean, you just got to look into the future. Like, it's going to be there. And it's going to be there to stay. And people are just going to have to get over it. And people will. They're going to bitch about it every now and then. And, probably for the next couple years, people are going to be like, oh, there's a... But eventually it's just going to be like, okay, well, that's what happens now. So...
Yeah, exactly. And eventually there'll be a generation that grew up on it.
Exactly. So, very good. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's get into Matchday 14. We're going to review that, and then also we have to take a look at Matchday 15, which is in the middle of the week. It's actually starting today, since today is Tuesday. We'll get in that in a minute. So let's go ahead and let's review Matchday 14. A couple highlights here and there. First of all, how about the goal for Cardiff to win that game in the dying minutes of the game against Wolves? Cardiff City Stadium goes crazy. I mean, shocking goal. Absolute stunner. What do you think?
Quality, man. This is quality. I mean, you're basically at the corner of the 18 there. You whip in that.
Yeah, and ball's moving too. It's not like you had time to set and shoot. It's rolling towards you, and you just got to hit it perfectly, and he did, and it was nasty.
The sweet strike, and I don't know. As a keeper, it's deadly because I mean it's coming so quickly. It's got so much swerve. I mean, those are the kind of goals. The only way you save those goals is if you're just in perfect position. Like you almost have to anticipate that's where he's going to go. And the problem is, what you're taught as a goalie is like where he's kicking the ball, you have to guard your near post.
Yeah.
And he gets it to the other side, obviously. And it's like, if I stay on my near post or near my near post to cover it, I'll never get to that ball whipped in with that kind of pace. So I have to cheat. And if you cheat too much, I mean, maybe the player takes a look and maybe he tries to go near post.
Right.
And then if you get beat near post, it's all on you. Like,
right.
So like that's the thing. With that goal, no one's faulting the keeper. It's like, how are you going to stop that? But if you get beat near post because you were cheating on a shot that you thought was going to go where it went, and then it's like, where was the keeper? Why wasn't he where he should have been?
Yeah. Well, let's just jump over to another goal that was ridiculous. It was very much like that, except for on the opposite side of the pitch. Townsend for Palace. I mean, absolute rocket. No one's stopping that. No one.
Another ridiculous goal. I don't know which one's harder because, I mean, Townsend comes in on that one up dribble, and the other one is a rolling ball.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Stevie Mac, what would you say?
Oh, man. I gotta say it's the rolling ball. And only because, like, when you're Townsend taking the dribble in, at least you have some sort of control where the ball is going to be before you shoot. But if you're just taking it off a deflection, you got to make the perfect run up to it, and you just have to read it perfectly, as opposed to if you're dribbling the ball, you can put it out where you want it. So I got to say it's a rolling ball. But that being said, Townsend's power on that kick was stupid.
They're both wise. They're both ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. So good stuff there for sure. As far as highlight goals, those are a couple of them for the week. There's a few more.
Bangers.
Yeah. So then, here's always the one we have to talk about. How about Manchester United tying with Southampton, deuce. And having to come back to tie again. It's like every game, Manchester United has to crawl back into it and hope they can come up with some sort of magic. And we've been saying this every week, and it's crazy. And eventually, it's just not, it's just not going to stand up. Like, there's no way. Obviously, it was already proven. You play City and you get, murked. So it's just not going to be a good rest of the year, man.
Yeah, I'm sounding like a broken record. I don't know what else to say that I haven't said before. You had said it before. They're just mediocre. They shouldn't be playing at this level that they're at because they have studs all over the field for the most part. But they just, I don't know. They're not prepared. They're not motivated. I don't know what it is. And I put a lot of it on Jose Mourinho. I've said it before. I don't. Whatever special quality he had before, I feel like he's lost it, and I think it's only a matter of time. I just don't know what's taking the board so long at Manchester United to figure that out. Everybody else seems to be saying the same thing, but they're just over there like,
yeah,
going to the motions, I guess.
Here's, another big game that's coming up on Matchday 15. I'm sorry, wait, is it Matchday 15 or 16? Hold on, I have to go through. I think it's Matchday 15.
15.
Yeah, they're playing Arsenal. So they're hosting Arsenal at Old Trafford. And obviously we'll talk about Arsenal here in a second. But Arsenal doesn't really seem like a team that Manchester United's going to want to see. That's all I'm saying.
No, not at all. Not when you're having to come from behind to draw Southampton.
Yeah.
Not like this year.
Yeah, man.
There, and that's the thing. It's like they have to do this. Kind of come back from behind stuff. It's like you keep going to that well, and eventually it's gonna be dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But hey, Lukaku got on the scoreboard.
He did.
And a cheeky little goal by Herrera.
Yeah, and both nice assists from Marcus Rashford. He got a little fortunate on the first one, but he made some good runs and definitely showed some pace, so it was good stuff. But you know what? Speaking of nice goals, though, we gotta give it up to James Maddison over in Leicester. The control, really beautiful. Takes the cross perfectly. Takes a couple touches, gets fortunate with a little bit of a deflection off the defender, but then takes the volley first time and hits it perfectly. A sweet shot. Some beautiful stuff there.
Yep, beautiful technique. James Addison is definitely a player on the rise. Someone I'm watching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. From the beginning of the season, I heard a couple guys talking about him, saying, "Hey, this kid's supposed to be real sharp." And so, actually, to be honest, I drafted him in my Premier League fantasy because I started hearing about all this stuff. And dude, he's been solid, man. He's definitely been a centerpiece for Leicester, and any success that they have had this season. So,
going back to the Southampton match with Man U real quick. The goals by Southampton were nice as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The free kick. No one's stopping that. That's not Manchester United's fault at all. That's just a perfectly placed kick.
That's Pirlo-esque right there. I've told you. That's take whatever free kick specialist you like. It's inch perfect, as they say.
Absolutely. City does City, man. 3-1 at the Etihad.
Yeah. At this point, it's just academic for them. It's like, okay, yeah, another easy victory, another 3 points, another multiple goal victory. They just.
Yeah, I think City's seeing Watford next, match day 15 too, and it's just like, man, poor Watford.
Next on the hit list.
Yep. All right, so let's get into Derby Day. Hey, look, Chelsea handled business against Fulham at home at Stamford Bridge, 2-0. But you had kind of said this before. I mean, kind of feel like Chelsea should have scored a few more, or at least one more.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they lost a chance to make up some goal differential, I think, there. I mean, you're playing a Fulham team that's not very good at home. You'd expect a side like Chelsea to score more than two, especially, I guess maybe we're getting a little spoiled here by Man City. We just expect all these top teams are going to be doing what Man City's doing.
Yeah, like shutting people out 3-0 and 4-0, putting up 5 goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to a point, it's kind of like we kind of have to expect it, because if we don't, then it's just going to always be City at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in a way, you and I are just looking for someone to try to compete at this point. Like, and in order to do that, you got to be killing these low-level teams. And we've said this multiple times. We say this almost every week, but that's because it's so apparent and so obvious every week, because City is just crushing everyone. And if you even want to, nip on their heels at this point, you got to start crushing everyone else too that's in your way. So, we get to the North London derby, Arsenal hosting Spurs. Arsenal makes Spurs look a little bit silly. They come away with the victory 4-2. Aubameyang has 2 beautiful goals, won the penalty, but the second goal was just absolutely perfect. Again, kind of a curler, but it was from the top of the 18, so not quite as hard as your boy Hoylett over in Cardiff City, but still a beautiful shot and a beautiful finish. What are your thoughts about how Spurs played, how Arsenal played? I mean, is Arsenal like kind of back up to where they were? What do you think?
Well, first thing I got to say is boo to the supporter or whoever the idiot was that threw the banana peel onto the field when Aubameyang scored.
Very poor taste.
Very poor taste.
Does nothing for anyone.
It does nothing for anyone. It's bad luck for Tottenham and bad luck for the Premier League. It's 2018, man. I mean,
grow up, dude. Grow up.
There's a lot of good players of all different ethnicities and races and everything out there.
There always have been, and there always will be.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah. That's about as much time as I'm going to spend on it, but it's just unfortunate to see that, and we obviously do not approve or condone any of that. It's horrible stuff to see.
Absolutely. As far as the game goes, though.
But as far as the game goes, I mean, Aubameyang was beast. The 2 goals. Arsenal were clicking. Made Tottenham look kind of ordinary. I thought this match would be closer.
I did too. Tottenham had been looking good for the past few weeks. So had Arsenal. It looked like it was going to be a real clash, man.
Yeah, it did. And, Tottenham just, for whatever reason, didn't really show up. And question for you. The first... Was it? Yeah, I think it was Harry Kane's. Didn't Harry Kane take a penalty?
Yeah.
Score the goal? And I think that came off. But did you see Son's?
Yeah, his dive.
Was that he dove? Right?
Dude, to me it looked like a clear dive.
Yeah, I looked at the replay. I'm like, wait a minute,
it looked, that was super ghetto, man. Hey, look, VAR, okay? Can we bring VAR in and give someone a card, please?
Yeah, because hey, I hope Son knows that you try that stuff next season with VAR. I mean, they're not gonna.
I mean, the thing is this though. I mean, of course, you want to get the call right, but even with that, they still lost 4-2. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. When you think about it, though, okay, so they get the phantom penalty kind of in a way, and they scored.
The header.
The keeper for Arsenal could have done better.
Definitely. It could have been a shutout. It could have been a shutout. Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been a straight shellacking. So
yeah, Spurs definitely got fortunate.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, good on Arsenal. They win the derby for now, and Yeah, it's good for them because they're obviously trying to punch up and catch get in there in the thick of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk about the tables in a couple minutes here. But, to round off Derby Day, Liverpool hosted Everton at Anfield. And, everyone has kind of been seeing what's going on. There was some actually great chances for both teams. First of all, how about that save from Allison? I mean,
Yeah.
the ball,
Point blank.
yeah, I was watching that go down. The ball had been crossed, and the ball was in the air. Yeah, the ball was in the air, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a goal. Like, game over, right? And somehow it didn't go in. And then, it's cleared off the line by Gomez right after that. And I was just like, what? Like, I didn't believe what I had just seen.
Yeah.
They went back and they showed the replay right after that because, there was a quick stoppage in play because the ball was cleared and went out of bounds, I'm pretty sure. And it was nuts, man. Like, what? What save is that? Like, it's just perfect positioning because he just obviously didn't know anything about it. It was just right place, right time. But, obviously the big story about this game is the last second goal, stoppage time, Divock Origi just following that play up. His ball's crossed in, it's deflected. Van Dijk takes a swing at it, deflects off the top of his foot. If you watch him, he pretty much gives up. He's like, crap, I just hit that thing way out of bounds, and that's what I thought was going to happen. I'm pretty sure that's what everyone thought was going to happen. Comes down, Pickford. We watched this in closer detail, and it's interesting because it looks like he's almost trying to, catch the ball as opposed to tipping over the side. His hands seem to be kind of coming back in. Now, I can't tell whether or not that's because his wrists hit the crossbar and it's naturally going to snap your hands back. And that might have been something that kind of assisted with the ball actually not going out fully over the crossbar and getting that weird spin on it, which brought it back to the front of the crossbar where it bounced off and then dropped perfectly for Origi, who was just standing there. But either way, we were both talking about this. Like, he's got to do better than that. Like, you got to just tip it over. Like,
yeah, definitely.
You got to send it over.
He almost probably would have been better to face his goal and to just make sure that he just batted that thing out of bounds. But at the same time, I think the reason for him not thinking of doing that was because he didn't want to give up a corner kick.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's like, the lesser of the two evils, give up a corner kick, and instead of like attempting to try to get the ball and you fail miserably. And, well, what happened.
Fortunate for Liverpool.
Oh, super fortunate. I mean, this is a super fortunate, fluky, lucky 3 points. And I was thinking to myself, like, here's Liverpool. Probably could have, lost this game, got nothing out of it, or at the very least they were going to get a draw. And I'm thinking, like, man, this is the kind of performance that's going to kill their season, man. You can't have these kind of performances when Man City's just over there, murking fools.
Yep.
But yeah, we got the 3 points, and I mean, Liverpool gets the 3 points, and they keep pressure on Man City to a certain degree. But man, talk about lucky stars. And
yeah, I mean, that stuff obviously isn't going to win you the Premier League, so we'll see what happens. But again, you and I have been kind of talking about it for some time, that it just seems like it's City's. Even though, like you said, look, Liverpool's keeping up. They got 36 points. They're only 2 points behind City right now. But yeah, I mean, you watch performances like this, and Liverpool should definitely, I believe Liverpool should have had a more dominant performance, even though, look, it is a derby. The Merseyside derby is always going to be a tough game. And you never know when it comes down to it. And look, Everton right now, they're in 6th place. It's not like they're a shabby club this year. So, they created some great chances, and they had every opportunity to get this win also. But the ball just so happened to bounce for Liverpool, so to speak. And that's how it ends up. So, lucky for Liverpool, very, very unfortunate for Everton. Heartbreaker for sure. But let's go ahead and let's look at the tables. We'll look at the top 5. In first place, of course, Manchester City. They have won 12 and drawn 2, no losses, 43 goals for, 6 goals against, plus 37 goal differential, 38 points. What? I mean, that's just stupid stats, man. Stupid.
Yeah, really is.
So, yeah, anyway. Second place, Liverpool keeping up there. 36 points, 11 won, 3 draws, no losses. Plus 22 goal differential. They're seeing Burnley this next week in Matchday 15. Chelsea moving up the tables. They right now have 31 points, 5 points behind Liverpool. And they're seeing Wolves this upcoming match day. Arsenal moving up and hopping over Tottenham, getting that 4th place. 30 points right now, plus 14 goal differential, and they're seeing Manchester United. So that's definitely going to be a to-be-watched game, and we'll talk about it here in just a minute. Tottenham drops down to 5th place after the loss to Arsenal. 30 points right now. And by the way, they only dropped because of goal differential. So they're tied on points right now. Arsenal has plus 14 goal differential, Tottenham with plus 10. So, it's not all over for Tottenham by any means, but again, kind of an underwhelming performance and definitely some bad look for their fans and their supporters in general. Tottenham in 6th, Manchester United in 7th place. Man.
Gap between 6th and 5th.
Yeah. 8-point gap right now between Tottenham and Everton. So, I don't know. 8 points at this point in time, even. I mean, we're getting to a point where almost halfway through the season. And, man, you just 8 points behind. Go ahead.
Man U's a mid-table club right now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, looking into the next match day, let's take a look at the fixtures and we'll go over kind of how this next match day is working out. Match day 15 is taking place Tuesday and Wednesday, which is today and tomorrow. We have Bournemouth hosting Huddersfield, Brighton hosting Crystal Palace, West Ham hosting Cardiff, poor Watford hosting Man City at Vicarage Road. Good luck with that. Burnley hosting Liverpool at Turf Moor. Everton hosting Newcastle, Fulham hosting Leicester, Wolves hosting Chelsea, and one of the bigger games absolutely is Manchester United and Arsenal at Old Trafford, just to see how Arsenal does. At this point in time, it kind of seems like they're going to go into Old Trafford and stomp on Manchester United, which is a pretty weird thing to think, but hey, you never know. Finally, Spurs are hosting Southampton, so I mean, look, let's go over a couple quick score lines of this and just for fun here. Watford hosting City. What do you got?
I'll go 4-0.
Damn. Oh, dude. Damn, that's harsh. 4-0 Watford, right? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm going to go 3-1 City. Okay. 3-1 City. All right. They're going to repeat their same scoreline as match day 14. Okay. Burnley hosting Liverpool.
Man, talk about a trap game.
Yeah, no kidding.
Burnley's in the relegation zone right now. Liverpool got to handle business here. I'll go 2-0.
I stole mine. I'm going to go with you. 2-0. That's all right. 2-0. I got your back on that one. Let's see. Wolves hosting Chelsea. I'm going to say Chelsea comes away 2-0 also. What you got on this one?
I'll go 2-1 Chelsea.
Okay. Manchester United hosting Arsenal at Old Trafford. You got the first pick on this one.
Oh, man. Manchester United at home against Arsenal. And maybe they'll get up for this. Maybe they'll be, everything says that Arsenal should take this. and they should take it easily. But maybe Man U's gonna play up to the part. I'll go. I'm gonna actually go a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Yeah, it's not a bad call, man. I mean, you're right. Arsenal does seem like they should be the clear and easy favorite. Manchester United, as you had just put, is a mid-table club right now, down in 7th place. So, yeah, all signs point to how Arsenal should come away with this victory, especially with kind of the drama unfolding in the Manchester United locker room as it has been since preseason.
Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, I gotta take Arsenal. I'm gonna take Arsenal 2-1.
Yeah.
So, rounding out the matchday 15, Spurs hosting Southampton. I think the Spurs are going to come out, and I think Spurs are going to be pissed. And I think they're going to take it to Southampton. I'm going to go. I'll go 2-0 Spurs.
Yeah, I would think the same. Because like you said, they're going to want to take it out on Southampton on what happened in the derby. I'll go one better. I'll do 3-0 Tottenham.
Good. Hear you. So shortly after match day 15, this upcoming Saturday, December 8th, is match day 16, almost right away. So we're going to just talk about both of these right now, since we're not going to be back until next episode will come out on Tuesday the 11th. After match day 16 is over. So in match day 16, Bournemouth is hosting Liverpool, which I think that's going to be a pretty interesting game.
Oh man, it's gotta be at 4:30 in the morning over here.
Yeah, 6:30 for me, man. Yep, 4:30 for you. Brutal. But you gotta do it, man. You gotta do it. You know what we could do? We could just stay up all night and play FIFA the night before on Friday night.
Yeah,
just like old school.
I'm sure my wife's gonna love that. I mean, Bournemouth's a tricky side.
They are. They've been playing well this year. They're giving a lot of top teams some games, something to think about.
I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw, man.
Ooh, dang.
Yeah.
That hurts. That stings the nostrils. I'm gonna take Liverpool 2-1. 2-1. Arsenal hosting Huddersfield. I mean, Arsenal 3-1.
They better. Yeah, 3-1. I'll take that scoreline. 3-0.
Okay, 3-0. All right. Manchester United hosting Fulham. I don't know. Whatever. Manchester United 2-0. 2-0 United. They come off a loss and they're gonna get 2.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. Man U 3-0.
Okay.
I mean, come on. You gotta, man, if they can't put Fulham to a whooping, and I don't know.
I mean, we'll see, man. Who knows how their confidence is going to be after this next upcoming match day. If Arsenal goes out there and puts the whip to them like they did Spurs, man, they might come into this next game and just be a little downtrodden. I don't know, man. It's looking pretty bad over there right now.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But either way, I think United comes away with the victory either way. So here's the big game, obviously, in match day 16 at this point in time. Stamford Bridge, Chelsea hosting Man City. So we got some 2 heavyweights right here. I think this is going to be a really exciting game. I'm really hoping that Chelsea can show up and make this a really exciting match. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I hope Chelsea. Well, Chelsea's got to show up. I mean, the buzzsaw that is Man City is going to show up, and they play with no mercy.
Mm-hmm.
With that all said, I'm going to take Man City. I want to say 2-1.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, how can you pick against City right now? It's just
even
on the road, man. Like I I don't know, man. I'm going to take City 3-2. I'm hoping it's a really exciting game, lots of goals, but City edging it out.
That'd be fantastic. I'd love to see that.
Absolutely. Goal. So, good stuff. Just to kind of round that out, Matchday 16, Leicester's hosting Spurs. Newcastle's hosting Wolves, and Everton hosting Watford, and that'll finish off Matchday 16. 2 match days taking place in 1 week, essentially. As far as Spurs Leicester goes, you have any ideas, any thoughts on that?
Spurs Leicester, I mean, you once again, as we've talked about before, you think Spurs will take care of business. I don't know, 3-1.
Yeah. You would think. I'm going to say it's 2-1 Spurs. 2-1.
Yeah.
So, all right, very good. So, kind of rounding it out, again, we have 2 match days taking place, match day 15 and 16 taking place this week. Match day 15 is Tuesday, December 4th, and Wednesday, December 5th. And match day 16 starts on Saturday the 8th and goes through Monday the 10th. So we'll be back on the 11th talking about the next match day we'll review match day 15, 16, and then we'll talk about match day 17 coming up shortly after that. You have anything else you want to go over in the English Premier League before we start getting into MLS?
No, but that's just about it.
All right, right on. Okay, so let's go through the MLS. What's happened since the last time you were with us was the second leg of the semifinal in the MLS playoffs. We had New York Red Bulls visiting Atlanta United. I mean, the New York Red Bulls were far, far behind. They were down 3-0 in aggregate. They needed so much help and so much love to win. It seems so far-fetched, and it ended up that way. Props to them. They put 1 goal away, so 1-0 there. But when it comes down to it, it was Atlanta all day. And now the MLS Cup Final is going to be played in Atlanta, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But any thoughts on New York and Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, just too much to overcome. I mean, to go down 3-0 in the first leg, and they didn't, it was kind of unlucky with some of that. They needed to get 1 in Atlanta, and they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, and then, Atlanta, it feels like they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
York, but they had done enough in the first leg, and Red Bulls were playing catch up, and they just it's so unfortunate that this series went down the way it did, because I thought it was going to be a lot closer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree with you, but you and I had both been talking about how we felt New York was a very complete team, and I still feel that way. I still feel like New York is a very, very good team. Obviously, they broke records this year. They had a great season. But Atlanta at home, man, I don't know. With Almiron, man, look, it's clear that Miguel Almiron is the catalyst for that offense, man. When he's on the field and he gets his touches, I mean, they just put him away, dude. They just put him away. So, I mean, his pace on the pitch is just too much for teams to handle. He's got great touch on the ball. He's got great vision. Hey, man, I said this actually at the beginning of the season. If he gets to the point where he starts finishing a little bit more than he does already, he's going to be up there with talking about the MVP next year. Because he just opens the games wide open, and he just starts finishing, man. And he already finishes, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking shit there. I'm saying that if he starts putting them away more consistently with the chances he gets, because he definitely has missed a few big chances this year that you would, with the top players in the league, they would have put him away. He's a beast, man. He's a beast.
Yeah, no, the kid is, and it's going to be interesting to see if Atlanta will hold on to him here going forward. And, what's going to happen to Atlanta in general for next season. But for right now in the present, I mean, they're going to host MLS Cup, as you said, and yeah, they look a little unstoppable at the moment.
Yeah, and you know what? It's been a Cinderella story for the other team that's going to be facing them in leg 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Sporting Kansas City hosting Portland Timbers. And man, what a game. And you look, all I got to say, Diego Valeri, fool. This dude he's like, hey, El Maestro, as they say, man. The dude is teaching fools how to be like, dude, really? I mean, he's showing up at the right place, right time. He's making the right runs. He's making the smart runs, and then he's finishing. Like, and he does it consistently for the Portland Timbers. He's definitely 100% MVP for the Portland Timbers throughout the playoffs, and he's the reason that they're in the final. What an exciting game, though, man. Like, take us through a little bit of that.
No, I mean, it's, it was back and forth. I mean, Sporting Kansas City obviously got the first goal, and they had thought they had even gone up 2-0 until Diego Rubio's goal was called back offside.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, you had an absolute screamer by Sebastian Blanco. Like, oh my gosh.
That thing was stupid. Look,
yeah, I mean,
if we're going to compare that shot, man, it looked like something Ronaldo would do. That was that quality. Like the knuckle on the ball, the placement. I mean,
no, it's world class, and that drew them on the scoreboard, and then it was, clearly a lot of the momentum was going Portland's way, and like you said, Diego Valeri, I mean, age is nothing but a number. I mean, this guy he is ageless. Like, it's just, he's doing his thing, and nothing's slowing him down.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we both have been talking about this. Neither one of us are really expecting Portland to pull out this victory, man. Like, look, it would be an absolute miracle to me if Portland could come away with a victory in Atlanta for the final. I mean, the stadium is going to be insane.
Oh no, it's going to be off the chain, off the hood, off the Richter scale. Like, it's going to be. I mean, you think anything Atlanta United has brought to MLS and what they're doing down there was big before. I mean, this is going to be a final for a trophy. I mean, I know the Timbers Army is going, and I don't know how many other Portland Timber supporters are going to be there. But man, I don't think you're even going to be able to hear them.
No,
because we're talking like
the only way you'll hear them. The only way you will hear them is if Portland goes up relatively big, relatively early.
Yeah. Just you get silent, and it's like, yeah, exactly. No, you're correct there.
I just can't see it happening. Like, no way. I mean, look, we've been talking about how badass Valeri's been playing, and they've been clicking, man. Diego Char's been playing well. Dyron Asprilla has had a couple great runs of play, and you know what? Actually, I really like watching him play. He's got some flair to him. He's got some nice touch on the ball, man. He's pretty entertaining. Sebastian Blanco, he's obviously pretty on fire right now, and they've got a great team, man. But dude,
well, if I'm Portland, the first thing that comes to mind is you obviously got to keep track of Joseph Martinez. Shut him down. Stuck with that. But B is try to clog up that midfield. You need to try to make it so Almiron can't just roam around.
Yeah, he can't just like skip through the middle of the field and then just dump it off perfectly to a striker that's been so on fire. He's setting mad goal scoring records. You mean like that?
Exactly. So, it's. Portland's obviously the underdog, and it's going to be, I think, short of a miracle to win this match. I think, because as we've already said, Atlanta is hitting on all cylinders, and they're going to be at home. They're going to have that great home support. It's just, yeah, I don't see a way that Portland comes out of this match.
No, I don't either. But hey, look, if they do, what kind of crazy ass spoiler would that be?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt if Portland was able to keep Atlanta from winning the title on their home turf, it would give Portland their second MLS Cup, deny Atlanta their first after everything that's happened this year. Them being the lowest seed left in the MLS Cup, it would be in some ways a very MLS result, but yeah, it would be nuts. And but like I said, quite frankly, I don't see that happening, because Atlanta's
on fire, man.
Yeah, they're on fire. They're a beast of the team on their own, but they're at home, and like I said, the place is going to be so hyped, so amped. That's the only way I could see. Like you said, the only way Atlanta loses this game is if Portland can get on them early and you know,
a lot. Like they got to be up. They got to be up 2-0 in like 30 minutes. Otherwise, forget it, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I'll take the scoreline on this one first. I'm going to say it's going to be 3-1. Atlanta United is going to get their first MLS Cup, and it's going to be only their second year in existence, which I don't know whether or not to feel good or bad about that. But go ahead. What do you got as far as scoreline on this one?
I'm going to take Atlanta 3-0.
3-0. You don't think Valeri comes up with a moment of magic, at least puts one away?
Yeah, I could see it, but I'm just going to be contrary to your scoreline and go with something different.
Fair enough.
I don't see 3-2.
No, neither do I.
But
I think Portland can squeak one in. Maybe it's even a garbage time goal, you know. Who knows? But
yeah, Portland's got a great story, but I mean, Atlanta is just this is the blueprint. Like, this is what you want and how you want to do it. I mean, a lot of credit to LAFC and everything, but I mean, gosh, dude, if the MLS could get what they're getting out of Atlanta and all their franchises, man, where would this league be?
Oh, it'd be huge.
It's nuts what's going on.
So, you know, look, we were talking also about how, I mean, I hope they break attendance records, man. Like, we were looking up attendance records at the Benz, and we had said that, I think, was it the College National Championships? Yeah.
I believe it was the National Championship last season.
77,000? Was it like 77,000 is what you said? So, I hope that they break that. I hope they go to 78,000, man. It would just be like the tip of the cap to the MLS, and also like what huge support for Atlanta United FC. Yeah. If they get that victory, man, like in a way, I just want to see them win just to see what happens at the Dome, man. See that after party, dude. If you're in Atlanta, you need to go there. Doesn't matter. Just go around there.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts.
Going to be lit, as the kids say.
That's right. Doubt. It's going to, savage. It's going to be savage.
Yeah. What's great about this game, guys, is it's going to be Saturday night at, well, for me, I'm showing a 5 p.m. start time, so I guess it's going to be
7
o'clock, 8 o'clock for them, where they're at. And it's
nationally,
on Fox.
Yeah, nationally televised on Fox.
Nationally televised game on Fox, so you got no excuses.
Prime
I don't
time.
get the channel. I don't have that. Whatever. No. Just get to a TV as long as you got some antenna, some bumpers.
You know what?
You're good. No. You're gonna be let's tune into that Fox, and man, it's interesting to me because it's like, if it had been somewhere else, would it have been nationally televised? I don't know. I want to say it would have been, but the fact that it's in Atlanta, I mean, the network knows, yeah, we're putting this
Oh
on,
yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, they know that the crowd, the optics, it's going to look good. Hopefully the game lives up to that.
Yeah,
And
hopefully.
that's the only issue, is that if Atlanta just steamrolls Portland, it's, you want to have a good game, but I just don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, it could get ugly quickly.
It definitely could. I mean, that's obviously the other scenario is that, if Portland doesn't get up early, let's say they have a couple chances early and they miss them, dude, Atlanta United's just going to start pouring it on. And
Here's an interesting tidbit for you. I don't know if you realize this, but it looks like, I don't know why they have it says 2000. I don't know how factual this is. I better check, and I want to see. No, that can't be. Oh, you know what? No, that is right. They only played once this year because one's in the West and one's in the East, and that's how it goes.
right.
But their last two meetings against each other, so we're talking about this season and last season. Guess what the score lines were?
I don't know, 3-1.
No. 1-1 draws, both of them.
Huh. But also though, I just don't know. To me, that just doesn't matter right now. It's like Atlanta United's at home in the final. It's going to be insane. Yeah. Just riding on the adrenaline alone of how ridiculous that crowd is going to be. I mean, they're going to have energy for days. Martinez is going to score. I think he's definitely going to score. And you know what? I think that they're going to score in beautiful fashion too. I'm really excited to see this because, Atlanta's run of play when they're on the counterattack or anything like that is so fast and so nasty. So pretty excited about that, man. So I got 3-1. I'm going to say that Portland gets one. You had said 3-0. You got anything else you want to put into the MLS final?
Yeah, I mean, Miguel Almiron's going to be the MVP?
Yeah, I mean, if he does it right.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, drop dimes.
Yeah, he's going to drop a couple dimes for sure throughout the run of play. We'll see if Martinez or anyone else can finish him, but he always comes up with one or two beautiful passes. He always comes up with a couple beautiful dribbles, and he always comes up with a couple chances too. And if he puts one away, there's like no doubt. So.
Yeah. It looks like everything's pointing to Atlanta United winning their first MLS Cup in their second year of existence, and they are going to be the envy of the league.
That's correct.
Because there are clubs that have been around since the beginning that have never won it, like the New York Red Bulls. And
and have been so close.
Oh, so close. And it's crazy because, I'm going to be honest with you, Atlanta United is on another level. They just are. They are rock star. They are, they're Led Zeppelin. They're the Beatles. They are, where these other clubs, some of them are just small, like garage bands. And this is like, world tour status. I mean, Atlanta United is turning everything that we knew about the MLS and everything on its head. Like, I'm going to say this again, and I've said it before. I didn't think soccer in Atlanta would work. The MLS and everything had proven that Atlanta wasn't a good sports town. It's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. For so long the MLS, they pulled out of the South early on with the what is the word? What is the term they use when they get rid of a club? I can't think of the word actually.
Relegate.
Not relegate. Contraction. They contracted Tampa Bay Mutiny and the Miami Fusion. They're like, yeah, and then like the South was not a place to go. And now Orlando City's there, Atlanta, Nashville's coming online, Miami hopefully in a few years. I mean, the South is like...
The South is rising.
South's rising of all places for us to have an MLS team drawing the way they're drawing. It's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's not in like some other place that you think like, oh yeah, soccer is really big, like Portland or Seattle. I mean, granted they have great support, but man, Atlanta's they just on another level, man. It's crazy to see.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with you, and look, all I can say is I'm excited to see it. So, as far as that goes, I'm just Matchday 15 and 16 for Premier League. Going to be fun stuff. It's great because we got 2 match days in 1 week, so lots of soccer this week. You got the MLS final over the weekend on Saturday night, and so it's a good week, man. It's a good week for soccer. And you know what? If I'm not mistaken, I almost want to say that the following week I think is Champions League again. Yeah,
you're correct. That'll be
so. Yeah, that's gonna be again. Just it's never ending, man. Like, just keeps going, man. Game after game after game.
It keeps going. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
So much. No off season.
Yeah. Actually, let's see. The next Champions League match day 6 of 6 in Champions League starts on the 11th.
Yep,
so. So good stuff, man. I'm definitely pumped. As we always say, folks. Well, actually, do you have anything else to add?
Not that I can think of.
All right. We can always talk about it next week, homie.
Yeah, I might draw a blank right now. I think I'm.
You done? Well, then you know what? Starting tonight, or today actually, since it's Tuesday, enjoy the games and don't hate.
Don't hate.